Hello guys, welcome to the RotMC 1.2 patch notes video. This update is actually quite a big one. It includes some quality of life features, drop rate changes, and a whole new class. Dying on a character now sets your potion stats to 25% rather than 50%. I know it's a bit of a nerf, but it's going to be really beneficial for the longevity of the server. One more realm has been added to the hub, and the name is still yet to be decided. As well as that, a whole new hub has also been added. The player cap for all of the realms has been increased from 30 to 35, and the overall player cap of the server has been increased to 350. And finally, for the general changes, the highest star is now light green and it requires 50 stars to achieve. Alright, now let's move on to some dungeon updates. This patch welcomes the new dungeon, Alarius' Hideout, which drops from Alarius. It can drop 2 new white bags, which I'll talk about shortly. The Void Portal has been moved from Sentry to Chungus? Anyways, melee players rejoice as the Void Entity phase, where he's elevated into the air for a long period of time, has been retired. As well as this, the Cultist Hideout is now on 100% drop rate from Sentry. The Leader of the Realms has seen a slight increase in damage to make him a bit more challenging. Fear not though, for the Dancing phase has not seen any change in numbers. To compensate for the damage increase, a few of the shots have had their projectile size decreased. This patch welcomes the redesigns of the Pirates, Slimes, and Bandit enemies found in the lowlands. In terms of item balancing for this patch, Demonic Daggers and Demonic Blade have both had their arc widths reduced. This could potentially make them a lot more viable as a contender for maybe a main weapon. And to be honest, that's basically it in terms of item balancing. Alright, so now let's move on to some loot changes. The Royal Forge Fragment has had its drop rate buffed to, make the grind a little bit less tedious, whereas the Bloodshot Forge Fragment has seen a nerf in drop rate. Black bags scale with damage done even more than they did before. 100% damage now triples your chance rather than double. This patch welcomes an abundance of new items as well, including Solar Staff, which drops from the Sentinel, the Dark Flame Trident, which drops from the Twilight Archmage, the Forgotten Dagger, which drops from the Forgotten King, Kronos Leggings that drop from Kronos, Corrupted Chaps that drop from the Dark Guardian, Black Hole Sandals that drop from Omnipotent, and we also see the Greatwood Greaves and Blossom Blade, which drop from Loa, located in the new dungeon Alarius' Hideout. Alright, now let's move on to class balancing. This patch welcomes the new class, the Shaman, wielding the staff, mage armor, and a new ability called the Scripture, with 3 untiered ones being the Scripture of Lost Treasure from Pirate Cove, Magma-infused Scripture from the Abyss of Demons, and the Spring-seasoned Scripture from Chungus. We're also seeing the adjustments to the stats of some classes, which I'll display on screen now. Remember, these are just potions, so only half of the actual values are reduced in total. So this will stop endgame players from being a bit too overpowered, so it shouldn't really have much of an effect on new to mid-tier players. And moving on to the most important part of the video, the bug fixes. A bug has been fixed that allowed you to build in dungeons, thank god. Ganda and the other souls should now work as intended. The loot filter will no longer reset every time you change server. Previous issues with the /shop command have been resolved. The sound effects should no longer scale with the amount of people that are in the proximity, and the Battle Mage's orb will now have a lot more particles on use for clarity reasons.